Maybe one of the biggest secrets in academia is hardly anybody understands a paper completely, like a paper for journal club, let's say. And well, maybe you get that impression, everybody does, but I guarantee you in the 15 years I've been doing this journal club here at my lab in Berlin, there's hardly been a paper where I understood really every bit in that paper. Simply doesn't happen. Maybe I don't have the background in statistics or taxonomy or modeling or whatever, and or molecular biologist, I just don't have enough background to understand everything in greatest level of detail. And then if you feel like this video is for you. So this is really, I think everybody feels this way. It's just hardly anybody talks about it, but you should know that you are not alone. That's the most important thing. If there is something in a paper you don't understand, that is normal. What makes the difference is how you deal with it. And in order to make the decision on how you deal with that, you need to ask yourself this question. Is this a paper that you're reading for a journal club, for your lab? Of course, you want to read it you want to give it a fair attempt at understanding it. Maybe there's some things in there you don't understand, which is normal. But this is maybe just for the journal club of this lab. Maybe this paper is not directly relevant to your project. So just give it a good attempt, listen to the discussion in lab meeting, ask some questions maybe, and then that's it. Just let it go, right? There is something in there you didn't understand, some statistics, some molecular method, whatever. Just let it go. Take from that paper what you can. There is always something you can take from a paper, even if it's just the way it's written, or some citations, or maybe the way the introduction was structured, or whatever you can take from a paper, always something, even from a bad paper. And so take that and move on. Second situation, you're reading a paper and this is really in your field, your PhD project. This is directly relevant to your PhD project. Then it's of course not so easy to just let it go if there are some things in there that you don't understand. If this is the case, you need to make that call. Is this bit that you don't understand really important for your project? And that is a tricky call to make because this takes a lot of experience, and this is why you also don't necessarily have to make that decision by yourself. You can ask your peers, you can ask your advisor. But if this bit that you don't understand, let's say some statistical technique, is maybe a key statistical technique or other method that you really will need to master in order to be successful in your project, you can't ignore it. Then you need to really work hard on it to understand it. Maybe attend a workshop, maybe first ask your peers. In the lab meeting discussion, very many things are usually cleared up, or you can ask your mentor, but then you need to work on it. The art is to decide when something is really important for your project. That takes experience to make that judgment call, and this is something you need to learn. This is actually one of the main reasons why we have journal clubs where we read a paper together every week. I mean, we don't have presentations, we just discuss. And at the end of every single journal club, I understand a paper better than I did before, pretty much without exception. Because you get a different input from people, everybody contributes something. When maybe they say the statistics were not done as well as they could have been, or maybe the display items were confusing or something, and so everybody adds their little bit of their expertise to it, and in the end you come away understanding it better. So this is the other important message. You are not alone. You don't have to be alone. You're in a lab. Other lab peers in that lab group, they can help you better understand a paper. And as an aside, if you don't have a journal club in your lab, maybe start one or get some other way to get this experience, maybe together with some other labs. But I think this is an essential part of doing science, so make sure you don't miss out on that. So maybe let's say this bit you don't understand, maybe the molecular methods, they are relevant. This paper is relevant to your project. We've already decided that at this point, but maybe you don't need to understand every little bit about these molecular methods because maybe you don't use molecular methods, or maybe you use different molecular methods. So then it's important to just compartmentalize the bit you don't know. Don't get stuck on it. This is the most important bit. If you get stuck on everything you don't know, you will not progress. So You need to just compartmentalize the bit you don't understand. Say like, okay, this I'm not quite sure what that means, but I can get the gist of the paper. I know why it's important. I know what it did. I know what it adds to the theme that I'm working on. And then you can build on it from there. That's important. Then you need to build on that paper. If there's something in there you didn't understand, it doesn't matter. You just put it in a box and you just move on and you use the bits that you did understand and the general gist of the paper to then do your science. So dealing with this, it will never stop, right? It will simply never stop. It doesn't matter if you're a PhD student, postdoc, faculty member, or even a more senior researcher. It never stops. Every paper you read, there will be something you don't quite understand. There are, of course, papers where you understand everything because it's very similar to what you did anyway. But the norm is when you read something in Journal Club or meetings like this, or just for your research, for your particular thesis chapter or PhD or postdoc project, there will always be papers you don't understand everything. So what's important is how you deal with that. You need to come up with a routine to deal with the unknown. And you need to, it takes practice to make that judgment call. What can I safely ignore and what can I not ignore? Because it would be dangerous to overlook an error in the statistics that were made in this particular paper because it would derail everything. This is why it takes so much experience, and this is why you need to be patient with yourself. I mean, you will not get that perfect right from the beginning. This takes a lot of practice, and I think you will get better over time, for sure. But you have to remember you're not alone. This is not a solitary endeavor, even though science is often portrayed like it is. It doesn't work like that. You're in a team, and in a team you can understand things better because you can also mentor each other, you can ask your peers, and together you will attain a better understanding, and that's what this is all about. So that's this video. I hope you found it useful or at least encouraging. When you have just read a paper for Journal Club, you didn't understand everything. I think this is super important. Let me know what you think about it and what your experience with handling this sort of unknown is. And with that, thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.